Good morning, gang. Dr. Sean here. Thank you so much for joining me in the winner's circle. We're continuing our conversation on improving your health. Everybody wants to be healthy. Here's the big question this week. Do you make health a priority? What I have discovered time and time again is that when we're not improving our health, we are experiencing health deterioration. So I'm going to spend some time talking about that this week, and then of course I'll end with several recommendations which I hope will keep us all in the driver's seat. Are you ready? Let's win this thing. As a young physician, it was a painful realization that most of our commonest health conditions develop because we simply don't make health a priority in our society. There's a general understanding that as we age, our risk for experiencing abrupt episodes increases. But more often than not, these abrupt episodes, like heart attack and stroke, are just a natural progression of not putting health higher on the totem pole. Strokes are the number one cause of disability in America, and they're 90% preventable. So this week we had the pleasure of meeting Marcus, a gentleman of 56 years who came in complaining that he was dragging his left leg. He also reported that he was slurring his words and that his hand grip strength wasn't as good as it had been on the left side. He agreed to undergo this CAT scan of the brain, and as you can see here, there are some areas here, some dark areas around his ventricles that show that his blood pressure is probably higher than it should be most of the time. So we discovered these areas that his arteries were probably under too much pressure, but we didn't find any inappropriate bright spots suggesting that they had burst. So we asked Marcus to undergo an MRI of the brain. He complied and also admitted that he really hadn't been taking his blood pressure medications and his medications for diabetes as prescribed. He said that he really didn't want to take his medications on days that he drank alcohol. So his MRI does a better job of showing these areas of chronic damage caused by chronically high blood pressure. And then finally, I think you can see some bright white spots here just lateral to the midline. This is actually in the brainstem. This is consistent with a recent stroke and explains why Marcus was experiencing speech slurring and weakness in his left arm and dragging his left leg. After a person has already been diagnosed with high blood pressure, diabetes, or elevated cholesterol, the main approach of preventing stroke or heart problems is to minimize these risk factors by keeping them controlled. When blood pressures are too high, or blood glucose values are too high, or when cholesterol is too high, it injures the insides of arteries. When arteries are injured, it causes a cascade of plaque development. Plaque in the arteries, or in other words, atherosclerosis. This plaque can block the flow of blood, or it can travel to a distal area and cause problems there, such as a stroke. The brain tissue that is deprived of nourished blood is rendered dysfunctional, and this is what contributes to the symptoms that patients with stroke experience. The issue of atherosclerosis doesn't just affect arteries of the brain, but it also affects arteries of many other organs as well, including the kidneys, the eyes, and even the heart. Yep, you bet. The heart is a muscle that is working continuously around the clock, pumping blood all throughout the body. It has several arteries along the outside of the wall that are also subject to atherosclerosis. When our chronic health conditions are out of control, it can contribute to atherosclerosis involving our coronary arteries. And if blockages are severe enough or demands are high enough, we can experience a heart attack. So if you develop chest pain or abrupt weakness, it makes sense to call 911 immediately. We might be able to give medications to break up the artery plaque. If we are fortunate enough to survive such an episode, we are usually prescribed medications to stabilize the plaque, such as aspirins, statins, and medications to decrease our risk factors. Now we've talked about artery disease. Let's see what we can do to improve artery health. Any day that we can walk and talk and hug our children is a blessing indeed. It's easy to get caught up in the busyness of our lives, but we have to remind ourselves of the precious opportunities that we have and make the most of them. And speaking of opportunities, many of the foods we eat have anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. If you can find yourself rich sources of vitamins C, vitamin E, and beta-carotene, as well as omega-3 fatty acids, you will serve your body well by maintaining and enhancing the arteries of each and every organ system in the body. So start each day with healthy eating. And finally, research at some of the world's finest institutions has revealed that we are better off when we participate in health-promoting activities. So my recommendation is that you begin each day with exercises that stretch your mind as well as your body to maintain the highest level of function available to you. Again, this is Dr. Sean here of the Winner's Circle, and I am extremely excited that you have yet another opportunity to keep winning.